I'm here with Alexander Mercouris, editor-in-chief of the Duran. Alexander, let's do an update as to what's going on with Julian Assange. Give us the details as to what happened today, Monday, October 21st, when Assange appeared in court. The news is not good.
No.
On all fronts,
No.
I would say.
On all fronts, no.
On all fronts. What I can speak to is just the fact that the news outlets that were covering Assange pretty much across the board said that he's not in good shape.
No.
He was he forgot a lot of his train of thought. He even at one time quoted, and I quote, he said, "I can't think properly," when asked to present certain facts and information. You know, he was not the Assange that we've all been accustomed to know, very sharp, very intelligent, very well spoken. It looked like he was very much a wreck. And he was almost brought to tears, actually, at
Yes.
certain points during the hearing. So take us into what's going on procedure-wise with the court, and then as to what you think as to Assange's disposition.
Yes, well, I mean, briefly, the summary of the position is that the court is going to press ahead with the extradition proceedings that the US is making. The court has decided to keep him in custody until those extradition proceedings are concluded, and he will continue to be in custody in Belmarsh prison, which is this very high security prison. Now, as I understand it, he is supposed, as a prisoner who is no longer serving a sentence, because the sentence that he was serving for skipping bail has now expired. It's now over. That part of it's over. He's now supposed to be receiving much better conditions than he should be. He's supposed to be entitled to visitors, to work with his legal team, to get assistance with his legal case. It seems he's getting none of those things. And as you absolutely rightly say, his health is deteriorating. Now, I've never met Julian Assange. I don't know him personally. I have met people who have. They all tell me that the change in him is extraordinary. That 10 years ago, he was a vital, highly intelligent, extremely incisive man. I've been told also that with the particular skill sets that he had, and with the very high quality of intelligence that he had, if he'd gone into into Silicon Valley or one of those places where he had that option, he might have made a very, very good living for himself. He might even have become an extremely rich man. He decided to go instead and form this journalistic enterprise, which is WikiLeaks. And the person they are seeing after all these years of confinement, first at the Ecuadorian embassy, where the British authorities never recognized his asylum status, even though under international law they were required to. And after the further period that he has been in custody in Belmarsh, his mental health has collapsed, and he is now a shadow of the man that he once was. And there have been more reports from the United Nations qualifying the treatment that he is receiving as, if not exactly torture, close to that. But none of that is being reported by the media here, and the British authorities are paying no attention to it.
What's he being held on, Alexander? You mentioned that his, for skipping bail, that's already expired. So
Yes.
What's the reason that they're holding him at Belmarsh? I mean,
he's being held for the extradition case. So he's not going to be released until the extradition case is concluded. And incidentally, the court has now refused to postpone the consideration of the extradition case. So he's going to face, in this terribly ill condition in which he is, this huge, complicated, very difficult case, despite the fact that, in my opinion, he's clearly unfit to defend himself in it. But putting all that aside, he is being held for the duration of this extradition case on the grounds, which I find bizarre, that he is said to be a flight risk. Now, how can a man who is as ill as he clearly is possibly be a flight risk? And even if there were some concerns that he might be able to escape, not clear where he would escape to, by the way, but let's say he could, is it really necessary to keep him in a high security prison like Belmarsh? I wouldn't have thought so.
Okay, so the U.S. has pressed ahead with the UK authorities for extradition, and that's what we're looking at right now. That's the main trial that's going to be coming up.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and this Swedish case about which we've been hearing so much seems to have vanished into the mist. I mean, there was talk of it being revived. The Swedish prosecutor was talking about reopening it, but we've heard nothing more since. And it's quite clear that it is only the US case that is being considered.
They're going to extradite him, correct?
I think so. I mean, I don't want to give up hope, and I know that people are still fighting for him. I know that his lawyers, obviously, they have to have hope and belief in his case. I think, and I've analysed his case in detail, I think he's got good grounds to resist extradition. There's precedent that a man who's too ill to stand trial should not be extradited to the United States. There's actually recent precedent about that. There's also serious issues about whether the United States has a proper case against Assange in law. He's being charged under the Espionage Act, which many people see as completely inappropriate and completely wrong, considering that all he was doing was acting as a journalist, and it would create a terrible precedent if he was prosecuted on that basis. In my opinion, he's got a very, very strong defense under the First Amendment to the Constitution. In my opinion, also, the American argument, which is the argument, by the way, that is being made in the indictments which have been brought against him, that he's not really a journalist at all, but is running some kind of intelligence agency, is so absurd as to be almost comical. But in spite of all of these things, the political imperative is clearly to extradite him to the United States, where he will, in my opinion, unequivocally face a very long sentence if he is convicted, which I expect he will be. And I don't really see any sign or indication that that's going to fail. I wish I could say otherwise. I hope I am wrong. I know many of the people who are representing him are outstanding lawyers, but I have to say this is increasingly looking to me like a political prosecution.
I completely agree. I said that he's going to probably be extradited. He'll be extradited because this whole thing just seems rigged from the get-go.
Well, indeed.
I think you said it perfectly, Alexander. This is a political trial, not a legal trial. I mean, Absolutely. If it was a legal trial, to me, there's no reason that he should be held right now.
Well, in my opinion, if it was a legal, in my opinion, I mean, I'll say it straightforwardly. I don't think there is a legal case against him. That's my view. I mean, I don't think there is a legal case against him under American law, and I don't think there is a legal case against him under British law. And can I just say something, because there is none under American law, can I make the point here that was also the opinion of the Justice Department under the Obama administration? The Justice Department at that time analyzed the case, and they advised Obama that they didn't think that there was a actual legal case against Assange. But things have changed. The deep state in the United States is even more determined to come after Assange, and it seems to me that legal considerations are being thrown out of the window.
It makes you wonder, with what Barr and Duran are doing right now, trying to get to the root cause of Russiagate, to the Russiagate hoax, and the fact that Trump would also like to get to the root cause of the Russiagate hoax, especially now that he has this impeachment inquiry hoax, coming up against him.
Yes.
You have Assange, who has the key to all of this. There's no doubt about it.
Yes.
He's definitely at least one of maybe 2 or 3 key actors in this entire, narrative that's played out over the last 3 years and is continuing to play out even today with Ukraine and all of that stuff. Assange is the key. Barr can interview him. Duran can interview him. They can strike a deal. They can get to the truth as to what happened.
Yes.
Why don't they? Why do they persist to persecute and prosecute this man when what he could do for them is ultimately help them? He can help the United States of America, get some definitive answers on this.
Yes, well, I must make a few quick points about this. First of all, I don't know the internal dynamics or discussions that have been happening within the United States over this case, but it's clear to me that the initiative for this case did not come from Barr, or obviously not from Durham. It came from the CIA. The theory that Assange was not a journalist, but the person who was running some kind of intelligence agency and therefore not entitled to the protection of the First Amendment was first floated by Mike Pompeo when he first met with the CIA after he was appointed director of the CIA. So it's a CIA concept, and it's the CIA that seems to be pushing this thing, and it's the deep state concept. Now, the other thing is, it's obvious to me that they had an awful lot of help from the Justice Department when it was led by Jeff Sessions. And Jeff Sessions always seems to me to have been far more interested in getting Assange over to the United States and locked up than he ever was in finding out what was going on under Russiagate. Now, it may be, and I don't want to raise hopes because I've made very clear I don't have many hopes, but my best guess is that if Assange is going to be saved, it will be because of the Barr-Durham investigations, which are, by the way, all the accounts are that they're beginning to pick up steam for exactly the reasons that you said. Back in 2017, it seems that Assange and the Justice Department were very close to coming to some kind of a deal. That's right at the beginning of Russiagate. James Comey, who was the FBI director, scotched it, and Jeff Sessions, who was the Attorney General or the Deputy or about to become the Attorney General, went along with it. The momentum to prosecute Assange has continued ever since. It may be, that as more and more things come to light as a result of the Barr-Durham investigation, that might lead to some people in the Justice Department saying, well, perhaps we should speak to the principal, the key witness in all of this, who is Julian Assange, and that might open up the possibility for some deal to be done. That, in my opinion, is his best hope.
I don't see how you could get to the bottom of Russiagate without talking to Assange. I just don't see how it's possible. I really don't.
Which is precisely why some people want to lock him away.
And
I mean, that's the
Brennans, the Comeys, these guys. Yeah, absolutely.
And quite a lot of people.
Yeah.
And quite a lot of people who are within the American government in its various different agencies as we speak.
Absolutely.
And can I also remind our viewers that, of course, there's Assange. There's also Chelsea Manning, who is being held in indefinite detention, which I personally consider a huge breach of her human rights, who is showing great courage by refusing to speak against Assange, because that's why she's being held in indefinite detention. She's apparently being fined for not speaking against Assange also. Another reason why he should not be extradited to the United States. Do you want to extradite to the United States someone who may risk the same kind of indefinite detention as Chelsea Manning, who, remember, has not been convicted of anything, but it shows you the lengths to which some people are prepared to go.
It's incredible that this is happening in the United States of America, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I would once never have believed it. I mean, I'm not naive. I've lived in the world. I was witness to a military coup in my own country in 1967 when I was a child, and I saw the role the United States played in those days. But I never believed that this would happen within the United States itself. I would have said that was impossible. That the United States, which does stand for many people still as the country of the Constitution, of the First Amendment, of the Bill of Rights, that has established the concept of human rights, in law across the world, would be acting in this way towards people like Assange and Manning. I would once never have believed it, but there we are. That is the reality we face now. I think the sort of people who need to think about this most carefully, by the way, are Americans.
Okay, Alexander, a couple more questions. All of this is going to take place around 2020.
Yeah.
I'd say that it's pretty safe. It's a pretty safe bet at the moment. You don't know what could happen. A pretty safe bet to say that Trump will get reelected.
Yeah.
If everything continues as is, we'll get reelected, i.e. the economy of the U.S. continues to move forward in this impeachment inquiry.
Yes.
It's ridiculous impeachment inquiry fizzles out. Trump will get reelected. And 2020 rolls around and you get this extradition case. Most likely Assange gets extradited to the U.S. Trump is now serving his second term. He doesn't have to worry as much about, all this impeachment stuff and all this, these witch hunts. He secured his second term and now he's going to ride it out. Do you think that might be the opportunity that Trump and Barr are waiting for? In other words, just buy another year's time, get reelected, and then start to get the truth out? Or the flip scenario is that nothing happens. They don't get the truth out. Assange goes to prison. I heard that 174 years, something like that, is the total time that he could be found guilty of. Nothing happens, in which case that says a lot about Trump, Barr, Duran, and all these guys. In other words, a lot of masks come off on the Republican side of things as well. So break that down, Alexander.
Yes, I mean, absolutely. I mean, what Donald Trump might do is unknown. He's not done anything to help Assange up to now.
Or
despite
Manning.
being president, or Manning, indeed, absolutely, despite being president. I don't think this is because Donald Trump is some sort of self-obsessed narcissist, as people say. I think he understands that for him to try and exert himself to help Assange would be politically disastrous. It'd be politically toxic. If he's re-elected in 2020, then perhaps, possibly, he might do something. I mean, bear in mind, Trump is already in trouble over a telephone call he made with Zelensky, in which he did absolutely nothing wrong. Just think what the Democrats would say if he intervened to stop the prosecution of Julian Assange. I mean, the Democrats would go wild. But anyway, putting all that aside, will he, if he's re-elected in 2020, act to pardon Assange or release Assange or do any of these things? I don't know. I simply don't know. I mean, I think there would still be lots of pressure from parts of the deep state to keep Assange in prison. But of course, Donald Trump cannot be under any illusions by now that these people are ultimately his enemies.
I don't even get to the point of releasing Assange, Alexander. Maybe my question is even simpler than that. Just hearing Assange's story.
Hearing Assange's story and perhaps not pursuing so vigorously this extradition request. No, I agree. I mean, it makes complete sense. But, I think if it's a case of hearing Assange's story, that is better done before 2020 than after it, simply because it's over the course of what's left of 2019 and 2020 that the Barr-Durham investigation will really start to pick up steam. I expect I expect that the timing of its official disclosures and its reports will be sometime around the summer of 2020. So I would have thought if you want to involve Assange in it, you need to speak to him now.
Okay.
Or very soon.
All right. And my final question is, you mentioned how this damages the U.S. justice system, what's going on with Assange.
And the British.
That was my
also.
question. How is this damaging the British justice system?
I mean, it's well, first of all, my own personal view, as I've said previously, is I think that he has a cast iron strong extradition case. That's my opinion, but I think that. But I mean, I think also the way in which he has been treated by the judiciary, and I accept we're talking so far about very junior figures of the British judiciary, it has been extremely disturbing. I mean, he should not, in my opinion, be in detention at all if he is as ill as he obviously is. He should never have been convicted and sentenced for such a long time for skipping bail. And may I stress, by the way, when he did skip bail, it was police bail. It was an administrative bail imposed by the police. He was not skipping court bail, which is a point many people don't understand. And of course, that was all done in relation to a Swedish case that has gone away. So, and yet he finds himself held in Belmarsh, a high security prison, apparently not getting the full treatment that he needs, and with his health deteriorating. Now, Britain is another country that prides itself on its reputation in human rights. Amnesty International was set up here. The British played a huge role in drafting the European Convention of Human Rights. They have traditions on human rights that go back all the way to their own Bill of Rights, which was passed in the 17th century. They've developed the concept of trial by jury. They've developed the concept in Magna Carta that people are not punished without proper trial and without trial by jury before their peers. Where's all that going?
All right. Yeah. What can you say? I mean, honestly.
Well, what we can say is this. I mean, we need obviously to highlight these things, and we need to point out to the American people and to the British people and to the very, very many people within the British and American political, judicial, legal systems who do care about these things, because there are many people who do. We mustn't make the mistake of thinking that every single person who works for the American government and every single person who works for the British government is some sort of a national security state ogre. I mean, that is completely not the case. We must point out to them that they are, in treating this man in this way, acting entirely contrary to their own cherished traditions, and they're doing so in a way that ultimately damages the reputation and prestige of their two countries.
All right. Alexander Mercouris, editor-in-chief of the Duran. Thank you very much. Guys, if you like this video, click on the subscribe button down below. Click on that notifications bell to make sure you get notifications every time we publish a video. You can also get an audio copy of this video. Follow us on iTunes and Soundcloud. You'll find a link in the description box down below. And please donate to the Duran. PayPal, Patreon, and Subscribestar links are also in the description box. And you can also pick up some Duran merchandise, like some magic mugs that Alexander has. I can hear them clanking on his desk there. Alexander.
So these are of course the double-headed eagles of Russia. This is of Russia Today, not Russia Today, the television station, but of the Russian Federation. And you find this on the Kremlin's mugs and dishes, from which Vladimir Putin drinks and eats and entertains guests. Whereas this is the double-headed eagle of Moscow, with St. George and the dragon of lies and untruth, being slain by St. George, who is, of course, the saint of Britain, or at least of England as well. Let's not forget, as well as I believe of Greece. So he is the Christian warrior, and perhaps Julian Assange needs warriors like him to help him in the cause in which he's fighting. But putting that aside, these are fantastic mugs. I've often spoken about them. They're 15 ounces. They're 15-ounce capacity. They have beautiful porcelain bodies. They're a joy to hold. They don't chip because they're so well made. They're really elegant, amazing mugs. And of course, we also have terrific shirts, like the polo shirt, the amazing polo shirt I'm wearing. My mother, said to me once that, she loved me in polo shirts. My wife says the same. She says this polo shirt reminds her of Sean Connery in a James Bond film. Well, you can take that as you will. I think they're great shirts. They are incredibly comfortable to wear. They are enormously stylish. They are the epitome of smart casual, and they are 100% cotton. They're beautifully stitched and made. They're supremely comfortable. They're not the only kind of shirts we have. We have t-shirts, we have long sleeve shirts, we have v-neck shirts, we also have hoodies and stickers and hats. We've got amazing things in our shop. You can help the Duran by buying our products. You can help yourself by owning them, and Alex will tell you how to do it.
Just go to the duranshop.com. A link for the shop is in the description box down below. And also make sure to visit us on BitChute as well. I always forget that we have a channel on BitChute, so you can check us out there. Alexander Mercouris, Editor-in-Chief of the Duran. Thank you very much. Until next time, everybody, take care.